For 2022, Acura has given its RDX a nice refresh. Is it enough to keep it up with the competition? Today we're going to find out. When the RDX came out in 2019 with the redesign, it was an unbelievable machine compared to its competition. And now for 2022, we have the refresh. The most striking thing is going to be up front. Gone are the lobster claws that were on each side of the bumper. Now we have a much more minimalistic and sculpted front. I love how the new RDX looks. Now what we have going on here is the advanced A-Spec trim. It's the first time they've combined those two trims at the top end. This is the most expensive RDX you can get. Of course, beautiful jewel eye headlights with the chicane daytime running lights. This being the A-Spec, we have a glossy black bezel around the matte black. Flowing through space is the Acura logo. These look like stars. It's just flying through space in the universe. And then I just love the minimalistic air vents here. This is also unique. These wheels, these 20-inch, 15-inch spoke wheels, these are unique to the A-Spec Advanced trim. So if you see somebody rolling around with these wheels, you know they're probably in the most expensive RDX on the market. Side hasn't changed a whole lot. We have blacked out window trim on this A-Spec. We also have power folding mirrors now on the Advanced package. As we come around to the back, I think one of you was asking if it does have a real exhaust tips. Yes, these are real exhaust tips, but if you get real close and look inside, there's a smaller tip in there, a bigger tip on the outside. So yes, it's very well done, very well presented. It looks better than a lot more expensive options out there on the market, especially from the Germans. Little gloss black diffuser back here, A-Spec badge. We still have the incandescent bulbs back here. We do not have the LED turn signals, only on the front. And it's probably a good time to head on the inside because that's where we have a lot of additional changes as well for this refreshed model. Getting in, we have, well, a lot of cameras laying around, but we have this seat, this orchid trim that's only available, I believe, on the A-Spec. Now there's also another trim on the Advanced that has like saddle brown that ditches this Y aluminum trimming, which I don't think it looks very premium, but it ditches that for some nice premium wood. We don't get that here on the A-Spec Advance. We have some Alcantara or super suede sort of here on the dash, as well as the inserts on the seats. Cup holder here. My phone is plugged in. Even though we have wireless CarPlay and Android Auto now, we only had wired previously. Fortunately, we don't have a touchscreen. It would have been nice if this was revised a little bit, screen brought forward so it could be used as a touchscreen, but I'm so used to this touchpad. Android Auto is real easy to get to. Unfortunately, it only takes up a portion of the screen. I just got out of some other competitors out there where the Android Auto is absolutely massive. And yeah, small screen, but it gets the job done. Behind the steering wheel, the traditional analog gauges I like. Long live the analog gauge as well as the volume knob, right? 20 miles per gallon. That's about what I'm getting in this vehicle. It's not ideal, and that's where I feel like Acura could do better, but they're not going to be offering any hybrids. They'll go straight to electrification instead. Standard pano sunroof. I do have a lot of space in the back. I have USB-C ports back there as well as heated outboard seats in the back, but I think it's probably time to buckle up the seatbelt, start rolling. Again, under the hood is the same 2 liter, 272 horsepower, 280 pound-feet of torque, and you can see this 360 camera here. It's not the highest resolution, unfortunately, but like I said, gets a job done. And that all-wheel drive, or that shouty, that super handling all-wheel drive, pulling this out of there. Now, also for 2022, we have some new additions in terms of the programming. Each dynamic mode here has been completely retuned. This does have adaptive dampers in the Advanced trim, and so all of these feel noticeably different than they did in the past. Also, the active sound control has been modified a lot. So in comfort mode is much more quiet than it has been. In sport mode, it's probably a little bit more punchy, more loud. Also, the most important thing I think for this vehicle, for the refresh, is that the sound deadening materials have been given everywhere in this vehicle, even in the rear hatch, the D-pillar, in the doors, in the firewall, in the carpet underneath. Like, well, I'm going to turn to sport mode for you guys. It's a much more quiet vehicle than what it was. I'm just going to hammer down. There's 60. Not really a 0 to 60 run, but that should give you a general idea. It's satisfying to ring out. I'm going to put it back in comfort mode. but I prefer this vehicle now that it's so quiet. We even have acoustic glass on the back door windows. That's amazing to match the acoustic glass up here. Like, this is a very quiet and comfortable vehicle. There is one strange rattle I get from time to time around the A-pillar area. I don't know what that's about. It kind of ruins the quiet experience when I do hear it, because this car is so much quieter. You do hear the small things now. So don't know if that's specific just to this copy of the vehicle or if it's endemic to all the RDXs out there, is that weird rattle. I do really like this slim bezel rear view mirror, auto dimming too, by the way. And I think it's probably time to get into the questions. I did a full review on this video not that long ago. It's a couple of years ago when I was still in Nebraska. And I did really like the vehicle. I love how spacious it is for its segment. And I love the looks of it. I like how it drives. The only thing before I get into your questions that I feel is like a disappointment in this vehicle is the fuel economy. Like 20 miles per gallon, and I've been driving this vehicle pretty conservatively. Ray is asking for 0 to 60 in all modes. I don't even have the race tuner out, but I'm just gonna torque brake to about 2,000 and go. It's very mild launch like we have in most Acura vehicles. And there's 60. So I'll put roughly what that is. For non-performance vehicles, I know Acura is a precision crafted performance brand, but it's a crossover. I'm not really going to get too excited about 0 to 60 on this vehicle, but that should give you a general idea. I would be expecting around 7 seconds for this vehicle, maybe low 7s with all that sound deadening that they put into this 2022 refresh. Acura Addicted says he has a 2022 RDX, and the only thing he can complain about is the weak AC, and I completely agree. I can't believe how weak this AC. It doesn't really matter how much I crank it. It never feels like it cools down very well. Yes, I'm in hot Southwest Florida where it's 87 outside and muggy as the dickens, but it's just never cold enough. And the vent is also in a weird spot. I feel like the vent's like hidden behind the steering wheel, so the steering wheel gets the cooling and my hand, but it doesn't really get to me from this vent. The ventilated seat, I feel like doesn't do much except create a lot of noise, so I just leave it off and enjoy the quieter cabin experience, because if this is on, man, your quiet cabin experience goes out the window. And the AC, I have to run it pretty high, and that kind of interferes with the quiet cabin experience as well. I'm getting that rattling over here by the A-pillar again. Anyway, Steve is asking about storage capacity and the armrest here. There's not much. I'll show you what it is in the glove box and the rear. There's so much space in the rear, even underneath that floor. And they have added sound deadening materials in the advanced trim underneath the cargo space in the back too. Like, they've really done a lot to make this car quieter. And this stretch of road is typically, and it's notorious in my reviews for being really loud. And I'm not getting that much road noise, and it kind of matches the wind noise, so it's still a very enjoyable experience on this terrible road. Much quieter than the QX55 that I was in last week. Adrian is asking about the touchpad, and do I prefer it over Mazda's rotary dial? Well, they both have their pros and cons. So the crazy thing about this touchpad, it's a dual touchpad. And my wife was calling me, the phone came up on this side of the screen, and the right side of the screen only adjusts to this right side touchpad. So I forgot about that while she was calling. I was looking for a button on the steering wheel. I couldn't find anything. Like, I was freaking out. So everything on the right side of the screen is done through the right side of the touchpad, and it just takes some getting used to. Do I like the rotary dial for some things? Absolutely, but this is somewhat similar to the old Lexus touchpad, so I'm a little bit more comfortable with the touchpad than I am the rotary dial. But both of them are not ideal, and I want this screen to be pulled forward. I don't need to have this ridiculous push button drive mode. This could be moved back somewhere else, or just right here where the touchpad is, and we just have a more aesthetically pleasing interior by revising this whole setup with this touchscreen. Also, for the interior, it is pretty crazy. There's just a lot of lines and different materials going every which way. It's pretty busy. Some people might not mind that, but after getting out of some of its competitors, that are a little bit more simple and minimalistic, yet still very high quality. I'm kind of wishing we had that here in this vehicle. And I got out of the Integra. I can't really talk about it too much, but I guess it wasn't driving impressions. I can just say interior impressions. I really like the interior better than in this vehicle in the Integra. Giannis is asking about ambient lighting, and yes, it has been given the ambient lighting treatment for the refresh, like the iconic drive is what they call it. It's also mapped to the drive modes. I haven't played with it too much, but I'll go ahead and insert some video of me messing around with it in the garage. Makai is saying that he's getting 17 miles per gallon on his RDX, and that's front wheel drive only and mainly in the city. That's rough, man. I feel you, like, especially with gas prices. Like, they're around 4.5 where I live, but I know in California, like, it's just out of control. So I feel you, and it's too bad you don't even get all-wheel drive for that terrible gas mileage. I feel you, man. And that's where I feel like this vehicle struggles. Yes, it does have good performance and overall a really good luxury experience and a ton of space and good looks for the segment, and it's priced well. The problem I have with the RDX is that it's 20 miles per gallon is tough. Oh, there's a nice TLX there. It's 20 miles per gallon is tough to get over. I know we've talked about the fuel economy a lot, but with like the NX 350h getting about double the fuel economy and you're not giving up that much performance, to me, that's the best car in the segment. I would take that over any of the Genesis models, any of the Acura models like this, any of the Infiniti models. So, and I'll take it over any Mazda, because I know Mazda's getting a little bit more premium, and I will be driving the CX-50 soon, but I'd still take the NX hybrid over any other compact SUV in this segment. And it's also extremely smooth driving experience. I don't need to talk about that vehicle too much, but if terrible gas prices and terrible fuel mileage don't bother you, then definitely check out this vehicle. And if you just don't want to live with a hybrid, then you're going to have to deal with terrible fuel economy no matter which vehicle you get. Jamaica Muzi's asking about an RDX Type S. And yes, we would love to have one. There's two routes that they could go. Well, one, we almost need a redesign. I don't think this, based off the dealer leaks anyways, we don't have anything in the cards for this model, right? We already got the refresh, so they're not going to give us a Type S of this model anytime soon. Not until a redesign, and that would be 2025. And who knows, maybe it's fully electric at that point. It's just really hard to say what they're going to do with the next RDX and the next generation of Acura vehicles, because they are going to be fully electric much sooner. And they've told me, and they probably told it in the press, like some press release as well, but when I was at the Integra event, they said, hey, we're skipping hybrids now, and when like full battery electrification is ready, we'll go that route. So it's either they go fully electric, or they give us like the Type R's turbos and engines, and we get 300 horsepower this setup, which I don't think would be a big enough jump. The most logical thing would be to put the V6 in here, the turbo V6 with 355 horsepower. But looks like there might be, is this a sheriff off the side of the road? Slowing down for sure. That is a sheriff. But I think this is a good time to sum up the RDX refresh for 2022. It is still a gorgeous vehicle. I like it in this Apex Blue Pearl, by the way. They've given us a new interior trim. They've made it quieter. They've given us Apple CarPlay, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. They've given us a wireless charger. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. And there are more additions, like this flat bottom steering wheel that I haven't mentioned. That's also on the new for the A-Spec models. Overall, the RDX remains an excellent vehicle for its class if you can get over the fuel economy. That's about it. So I'm going to end it there. I'm sure you guys have more comments and questions down below. Acura is on an assault right now. The new MDX is probably my favorite three-row crossover on the market. We also have the new Integra, which at this time of the recording, I can't talk about it because I'm under embargo. Oh, and I also forgot to mention the heads-up display is the same heads-up display that's on the MDX. And this is arguably my favorite heads-up display in the market. The font's huge. I get no double vision. It's super crisp. It gives me directions when I have my Android Auto destination put in. It puts it up there, as well as the radio station. Like, I love this heads-up display, and it's one of my favorite things about this RDX, believe it or not. But I need to wrap this up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you down below. Smash the like button if you enjoyed today's coverage of the RDX. And what do you think of the first-person view? It's a little bit new for me. I don't think I'm gonna do it all the time. I'm just ready to try different things. I get a little bit bored of the same thing over and over. So if you guys want to see more point of view or first person view, just let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.